Are you brave enough to face your fears and jump out of a plane? Take a step back and witness the heart-stopping moments of the 10 deadliest skydiving fails captured on camera for the world to see. From equipment malfunctions to human error, these chilling moments will leave you on the edge of your seat. Skydiving, a thrilling sport, attracts daredevils from all over the world who are looking to experience the rush of freefall from thousands of feet in the air. However, with the high stakes involved, things can quickly go wrong and have deadly consequences. In this video, we bring you a compilation of the 10 deadliest skydiving fails that were unfortunately caught on camera. These shocking and sometimes tragic moments serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of skydiving and the importance of proper training and safety measures. Number 1. Michael Holmes. Michael Holmes, a 25-year-old New Zealander, experienced a malfunction in his skydiving jump from almost 4,600 meters above Taupo. The cause was the incorrect packing of his parachute. Despite attempts to use the disconnect feature, he was unable to stop the spinning and was descending uncontrollably toward the ground. Michael Holmes attempted to jump from 15,000 feet above sea level. The parachute malfunctioned and he was unable to control it, leading him to attempt to cut the main parachute off to open the reserve. Despite spinning too quickly, he eventually pulled the reserve, hoping for the best, realizing it would likely get caught in the main parachute if not separated. He eventually pulled his reserve parachute and landed in a blackberry bush, which saved his life. He was briefly unconscious, but came to and felt ashamed, but grateful to be alive. Number 2. Dan Brodsky Chenfield. Dan Brodsky Chenfield was a professional skydiver who survived the worst skydiving accident in history. He was a part of a group of 22 who boarded a plane for a scheduled jump, but 6 weeks later he woke up in a hospital in a coma. 16 of the 22 passengers on board had perished, while the rest were critically injured. Dan Brodsky Chenfield was involved in the worst skydiving accident in history, where the plane he was in went down, killing 16 of the 22 passengers and injuring the rest. He was critically injured with a broken neck, fractured skull, and a collapsed lung, but he eventually recovered and went back to skydiving. He became a motivational speaker and is now one of the top competitive skydivers in the world. Number 3. Emma Carey. Emma Carey was 20 years old when she went skydiving in Switzerland. She was a tourist jumping in tandem with an instructor and expected some adventure and danger. The trip turned out to be unexpected, and she would remember the day for the rest of her life. While in free fall, she noticed the parachute had not opened and asked her instructor for a response, but received none. She later realized that both the main and reserve parachutes had ejected and become intertwined, with the cords wrapping around the instructor's neck, rendering him unconscious. Emma believed she was going to die. They landed in a field and she was left pinned beneath the unconscious instructor. Despite being injured, she remained conscious and had to wait for help to arrive. Emma sustained severe injuries, including a broken pelvis and fractured spine in 2 places, which resulted in paralysis from the upper abdomen down. Despite the severity of her injuries, she dedicated herself to physical therapy and was eventually able to walk and function normally. Although she didn't fully recover all of her functions, she's grateful to be alive. Number 4. Jordan Hatmaker. Jordan Hatmaker, a 35-year-old skydiver from Virginia Beach, Virginia, survived a rare and dangerous scenario called a downplane, where both parachutes failed to open during a 13,500-foot descent. Her first parachute got tangled around her leg, and when her reserve was released, they both flew in opposite directions, causing her to spin rapidly toward the ground at 80 miles per hour. After being in the hospital for 4 weeks, she recovered and was able to walk again after 3 months. She plans to skydive again and has even climbed to the base camp of Everest. Number 5. Craig Stapleton. When we hear a story like the one of Californian Craig Stapleton, a man who miraculously survived a skydiving accident, it's difficult for us to believe. Craig Stapleton was what we would call an ardent skydiver and a definite master of his art, with an astonishing 7,000 jumps under his belt. When he did his jump from a plane that was 2,438 meters, 8,000 feet in the air, it was in 2013 while performing a flag stunt with his partner. another skydiver called Katie Nelson. Craig Stapleton faced a skydiving mishap when his main parachute deployed incorrectly and caused him to spin uncontrollably. He deployed his reserve parachute, but it got caught in the main one, causing him to continue falling rapidly. Despite the dangerous situation, Stapleton remained calm and quick-thinking, deploying the reserve chute. He realized he was headed toward a field of grapes growing on iron posts and braced for impact, hoping to survive the crash. He prepared himself by curling up into a ball, accepting the possibility of hitting an iron spike and resulting in a messy outcome. Katie Nelson watched in horror as her partner Craig Stapleton fell to the ground. A nearby nurse rushed to his aid and found him lying in a soft patch of dirt in the grape field just a meter away from the iron spikes. Stapleton's landing in the grape field, rather than on the spikes, likely played a role in his survival. Number 6. Laverne Everett. Laverne Everett, an elderly woman, wanted to skydive for her 80th birthday, but it didn't go as planned. She still expressed her happiness about the experience despite the outcome, which was captured in a video by her sister. Laverne was hesitant to jump from a plane, holding on to the sides, but with her companion's help, she let go and they fell. Something went wrong and Laverne was close to slipping out of her harness, but her companion held on to her. The parachute eventually opened, and they made a safe landing with the help of onlookers. Number 7. Parachute on fire. A pioneer in the field of skydiving is Troy Hartman. Troy's a pilot, base jumper, skydiver, and aerial stuntman. He accomplished several amazing feats, many of which have not yet been matched. Some of his incredible achievements include surfing behind a helicopter base, jumping off of a moving semi-truck over a bridge, and using a jetpack to fly. One of his favorite tricks, according to him, included connecting an old parachute and setting it on fire. Number 8. Joan Murray. Joan Murray was a bank executive who skydived as a hobby. She experienced a unique skydiving incident involving ants and survived, making her story one of the most incredible survival stories. Despite not being a professional skydiver, she occasionally pursued high adrenaline activities. The jump was not expected to be extraordinary, just a typical leap. On September 25, 1999, the skydiver's primary parachute failed to open at a height of 14,500 feet. She twisted out of control, the reserve parachute deflated, and she fell to earth as a result. She hit the ground at 80 miles an hour, causing her to become semi-conscious and barely clinging to life after being stung by over 200 times by fire ants. Her heart stopped, but the shock from the stings kicked it back into action, allowing paramedics to arrive and get her to the hospital, where she spent months recovering, but never fully regaining all of her health. The fire ant stings saved her life by restarting her heart. Number 9. Carol Murray Rodriguez. A woman, Carol, experienced a near-fatal skydiving incident where her parachute became stuck, causing her to fall and suffer severe injuries, including a thigh bone fracture. The traumatic event still affects her 20 years later. Carol was instructed without the help of a professional skydiver and is owed money for 4 hours of fake instruction. Number 10. Mackenzie Wethington. A 16-year-old girl named Mackenzie Wethington from Texas received skydiving as a birthday present. During the jump, her parachute malfunctioned and deployed but spun uncontrollably, causing a dangerous situation. The skydiver did not reach terminal velocity and hit the ground at a lower speed. Her injuries were less severe due to the parachute spinning and her landing in the sand instead of a harder surface. This type of skydiving accident is actually preferred over others. She had a liver rupture, broken teeth, and severe damage to her legs with multiple broken bones, but was able to heal naturally without any surgeries. Her recovery took 6 to 8 weeks, and she was lucky to survive. That concludes our discussion on the 10 deadliest skydiving fails caught on camera. It's important to remember that while skydiving can be an exciting and thrilling experience, it also comes with its risks, and it is crucial to follow proper safety procedures and regulations. Our thoughts and condolences go out to the families and loved ones of those who have lost their lives in these tragic accidents. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay safe and enjoy the skies.